Cloud. All right. So it's all set to be recording. IT can cut the first half off till your meeting starts, but that way it goes right to our cloud. So IT just will upload it probably tomorrow afternoon.
So Katie, did the meeting, is there anything special I need to do or just hang up and I'm good?
Yep, when you end it, the recording will automatically go to our cloud, and I'll get an email that says there's a recording on the cloud, and I just forward it to IT. And then that will be all set.
Now, if Henry does anything embarrassing I'd like to share with other people, how would I get a copy of this?
Oh, it'll be on YouTube. You can just share the link all over Facebook.
Oh, great. Okay.
All right. So you.
Henry, you're not saying anything up there.
I'm trying to get this meeting on my iPad and I can't. I have it on my iPhone right now.
Oh, okay.
Trying to switch it up to my iPad.
All right. So you are the host now. You can do anything you want.
Within
so you
reason.
should, yeah, within reason. It's all recorded, so don't go too wild. But you should be all set. So feel free to email me if anything comes up, but you should be good to go. And as soon as you're done and hit end meeting for all, the recording will get sent over to us and you'll be good to go.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for your help, Katie.
Of course. Have a good one.
You too, Katie.
See ya.
Bye. Henry, you look very serious and studious up there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm trying to get this on my iPad so I can see bigger, but I'm not having any luck so far, but I'm okay. I got my iPhone on.
Okay.
Just bear with me for a second.
Let's see what happens if I do this. Yep. Wait for 1 second. Oh.
Okay. I got it on my iPad.
What? Yes.
Bear with me. Bear with me.
I think I have you in 2 resources now.
Yeah, I just got it on my iPad. Okay. Whoop. Oh, what happened?
One of them I have you, picture of you, and the other one I just have your name.
Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay. Let me shut this up. Okay. I should be all set now. How you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty good. We're supposed to have Lorraine join us, Anna join us, and she hasn't got back to me. I sent her the link a couple of times just to be sure she got it. I sent it again this morning. I did talk to her a couple of days ago. She called me, and so I hope with the direction and a couple copies of the link and so forth that she gets on.
I didn't know anything about. After our conversation on the phone, I texted Bob and I said that you were wondering if you were going to come to the meeting, and he asked me for your telephone number. Then later on that night, he said that he spoke to you and he resigned, but he didn't give me any reason, so I didn't want to pry.
No, I think there's a couple of different things, and I'm not really sure. I think it's COVID, it's health issue, it's probably a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, but it's on the computer. He's not coming into a meeting, so.
Right. Well,
whatever.
I have a couple ideas how we can pick up a 5th person. So what's going on with you and Barbara?
Nothing much. Nothing really much. Same old thing. Nice out today. I got out for a little while.
Day.
Yeah, I had to pick up some medicine and I went to the store and that was it. How's your kids behave?
My son Nate is right over here.
Okay. Hi, Nathan.
Hey, how's it going? So I went to the Y earlier. We have mixed feelings about that. Denise goes later in the day. She goes around 5, and I go in the morning. But you're wondering how the cleanliness is. You wonder all the different things over there. So mixed feelings about it.
I was thinking of you yesterday. We went down to C. N. Smith Farm, and I got some apples. Hi, Lorraine.
How's it going, Henry? Hi, David.
Hi, Lorraine. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, we were down to C. N. Smith Farm yesterday, and I seen the Y. It was pretty crowded yesterday. I was thinking of you.
I've been there a couple of times. Denise goes there she has been going almost weekly, either there or the farm stand near Trukey's. So
Yeah.
we'll be getting like fresh tomatoes, lettuce, cucumbers. My favorite is the peaches and plums, but everything's coming to an end except for tomatoes right now.
I know we've been getting corn there all year long. It's
Corn. Yeah,
Nice. How's everybody doing?
doing good.
How
Good to
about
see
you?
you.
Good to see everybody, too.
Actually, a little 3x3 little square picture of you, but it's close.
I'm here. I was painting earlier.
I didn't know you were an artist.
Yeah, actually painting railings on a farmer's porch out front. So,
Oh, I have to do that. Do you have metal ones or wood ones out there?
no, they're wooden and they're spindles. And boy,
Oh,
are
yeah.
they a pain.
Well, I have spindle metal ones, and they're all rusty, and I gotta scrape them down and paint them. And
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We actually transformed the house. It went from sage green to it's gray and with a white trim now.
Oh, nice.
Totally different. Yeah. Nice
Now,
change.
did Mike get someone to do the high painting, or what happened?
Yep. Mike had somebody do the high painting, and we had a couple things done to the garage, like a overhang, like, above the garage doors, like a roof. He had that put on. It gives it a nice effect, so
Good.
some different things. So.
I noticed that everybody in the neighborhood is doing more yard work and more housework.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How's Barbara doing, Henry?
She's doing good, thanks. Yeah, she just walked in the door. She was out. She's doing good.
Oh, good. I miss everybody's face. I really do,
I
A
know.
different world we're living in.
Now, Lorraine, let me ask you a question. How's it going with the Bridgewater Housing Authority, their meetings monthly? Is that going well, or?
Yes, it's going pretty good. Yep. We actually, she's been doing them. It's just like Zoom. It's called go-to meetings.
Okay.
Yep. So she's been, Karen Rudd, the director. We've been, having meetings continuously through Zoom, through go-to.
Give me one sec.
Yep.
So, it's funny doing this at home. I just got a call that my wife's working downstairs. So she came up, I gave her the phone to bring downstairs. And you never think about all this stuff regularly,
I just had to give my cat a little bit of food. Otherwise, he'd be jumping on the back of my chair. I know.
So we're supposed to have Anna join us, and Dave Moore said that he wanted to join today. So
Okay.
talk about the memorial building.
Yeah.
Dave, did you ever hear from Zach?
I did not, and I sent out the email maybe 5 times, so I have not heard from him.
It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
David Moore is coming on right now, it looks like to me.
Yeah, I see his
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, okay,
How are you?
Hi,
very
David.
good, David. Hi, Lorraine.
Hey, David, I have to ask you a question. Do you
Sure.
walk a dog by chance?
Do I have a dog?
Yes.
Yes, I have 2 dogs.
Because I saw a gentleman walking as I was driving by maybe a couple days ago, and I said, I swear that's David Moore. And I wasn't sure. It was in the afternoon, I believe.
Little black dog,
A little dog.
not knee high, yeah, little black
Yeah.
dog. Yeah, that was me on Flag Street.
Yeah, I was on Flag Street.
Yeah, I walk them once or twice a day down Flag Street.
Oh, okay. So we are expecting one more member.
Okay.
How's Wendy, David?
She's doing fine. Doing real
Great.
good.
Excellent.
Yeah, everybody's healthy and your family?
Doing good. Yeah, everybody's fine. And your mom, is she feeling better?
Yeah, she is.
Good.
She had another episode with the bleeding stuff, and she went in the hospital, and they said, "Nah, nothing wrong." You know, they did some tests on her and everything. They just said it's
wow.
just a happening. You know, they told her before it's going to happen. It
Yeah.
might be 6 months, might be a year. And,
Oh,
you know, she
boy.
lost a little bit of blood, and it
Yeah.
stops, and that's it. But they did a colonoscopy and checked her, and they said there was nothing wrong inside, and so she's all set.
Oh, good. Because we missed her at the Samaquin luncheon. I had left a message for her to remind her, and then they said she was in the hospital.
Yeah,
So,
well,
yeah.
that's what it was. She went in on Sunday about midnight. My sister brought her up.
Oh, my God. Wow.
So
I'm glad
but
she's
she-
okay.
pretty used to the procedure, but we're really disgusted with Cardinal Cushing.
Oh,
We're just not getting, we don't feel as though we're getting good care up there at all.
yeah.
They've just gotten so commercialized, cut corners here and there, and
Mhm.
just the care is, I had a bad experience up there about 2 years ago, and this is, I think, the third time my mother's been up there, and we're gonna see if we can go over to Brockton next time.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
gonna see if I can find it,
Yeah.
well, I gotta find a new primary anyway, so I'm gonna see if
Mhm.
I can get associated with one in Boston.
Yeah.
You know, David, during this COVID, my mother-in-law has had 2 heart issues and had to be taken both times to the Cardinal Cushing Hospital, and didn't really do much of anything with it. They wanted to just get her in and get her out. So they did a
Yeah.
very little testing, and you could have done whatever they did at home, basically, is how I looked at
Yeah.
it.
Well, I went up, I had chest pain, and Wendy brought me up there, and they looked at me, did some tests and everything, and they said, nah, go home, take some Tylenol, you're all set. You didn't have a heart attack, but the pain was pretty bad. So I went home, and 2 days later, the chest pain came back in the middle of the night, and it was so bad.
Oh,
I said,
God.
Wendy, I think we better call the ambulance.
Oh, jeez.
Took me up by ambulance, and I was in there for 3 days. They tested my heart, nuclear stress test. They did everything. Gave me morphine for the pain, and it's all chest pain, left arm, every classic heart attack stuff. Never found a thing wrong.
Wow.
And then they sent me home with some pain pills.
And that's it.
So with undiagnosed pain. So 2 days later, all of the morphine and all the heavy drugs wear off, and I was in so much pain. I got up in the morning, and I said, that's it. I'm going over to my primary. I don't have an appointment. I walked into my primary, and they said, you don't have an appointment. I said, well, I'm here, and I'm not leaving here until somebody tells me what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And otherwise, you get the police and have them throw me out because I'm not leaving. The doctor said, well, okay, come on in. I went in his office. I sat up on a table. He said, take your shirt off. Took my shirt off. He looks at me. He says, you get shingles.
Oh, my God.
Really?
3 days in the hospital, and they never saw it. And I know I had the rash before I went in.
That's
I could have
crazy.
told him. Yeah,
That is crazy.
yeah.
Oh, my
So
God.
that's it. I've had it with Cushing.
Wow.
I'll go
Yeah.
up there for a splinter or something or a broken bone, but that's it.
That's about
Oh,
it.
my God.
Now, let me ask you a question. What do they do to alleviate shingles once you get them?
Very little.
Mm.
They give you an antiviral, and if you can get started on it soon enough, it will mitigate a little bit.
All right.
They'll give you pain medication, but you just got to let it pass. But they do have a brand new flu shot, a shingle shot. It's 2 shots,
Mm-hmm.
6 months apart, and I strongly recommend that you should get it. I'm
Mhm.
waiting now. I had to wait 2 years before I could get it, and they said, do it. Well, I've never had anything that painful in my whole life.
Oh,
I
man.
actually got them when I was 30 years old. They were totally shocked. They said, you're too young to get them. And I had them all up and down my arm. I have no idea how it happened, but my whole arm felt like it was completely dead and on fire. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
You have to
crazy.
get chicken pox. Don't you have had to?
I had the chicken pox too.
That's what you had. I never had that. I never
Yeah.
had chicken pox. Huh. Well, we might as well get started. I'm not sure what happened to Anna. So, welcome everybody. It's kind of great to see Henry again and Lorraine. Welcome, Lorraine. This is your first.
Hi.
The only change since way back when we had our last meeting, we still have Anna. Hopefully she'll still join us. But we did lose Bob Bolger.
Oh,
He contacted me earlier this week and said,
okay.
as of that day, I believe it was Monday, he was going to resign Yeah.
Oh,
for several different reasons. And we'll talk about after that. I have a couple ideas, and maybe you guys have a couple ideas how we could reach out to find a fifth member for our commission.
okay, sure.
So I'd like to welcome Dave Moore. Thank you for joining us today, Dave.
My pleasure.
It's going to be a little bit different meeting. I'm going to, if you want to speak a little bit about the memorial building, I'll give you the opportunity to speak first because this is kind of a catch-up meeting for us today, Dave. We haven't met for some months now due to the COVID, so this is our kind of a kickoff meeting again. So we're going to kind of go back and forth and get some ideas of new direction and so forth. But I want to give you the opportunity to join us and to talk with us about the memorial building and anything else you'd like to share with us.
Okay. I won't take a lot of time because I could take a lot of time only because I'm so upset about the memorial building and the way our town manager is handling the whole project.
Mhm.
But just to bring you up on where we are with that, I managed, after 2 years, I managed to get a seat on the memorial building ad hoc committee.
Mhm.
And we've met, I think I've attended 3 meetings. The last 2, the architect was not there. So any construction questions or suggestions or whatever, we have to go through Kim Williams. And she is not a construction manager. She has no construction experience.
Right.
So it's been
Yeah.
handicapped in that respect.
Mhm.
The big objection with the historical commission has been, we don't want them to see them cut the building in half horizontally. By that, I mean that they want to take out the interior staircase, and so you will not be able to get from the first floor into the basement without going outside of the building. And in doing that, they were going to provide handicap access, ramp access to the front door, and then they were going to build a separate ramp system going around the left-hand side of the building, around and going into the basement. One meeting we asked if that was really feasible because of the size of the basement door,
Mhm.
and the architect said he could do it, but we went down and recently I went and looked, and you're going to have to cut a big piece of the foundation out in order to get to make the radius to get a wheelchair through that door.
Okay.
So it's not really, it's possible, but it's going to be very expensive.
Hey, David, when did all these changes happen? Mike Dutton originally had me looped in because he wanted the Disability Commission to back him on his plans for the memorial building. The thing that was negating our interest was they weren't going to make any kind of parking for it. They said it was going to be lack of space in the front, too difficult, so they were just going to build it with no parking whatsoever. So we never signed off on it, and then I never heard anything more. And now it sounds like everything is changing because they were initially going to have an elevator inside. They were going to have bathrooms on the first floor. Everything seems like it changed since last I heard.
Well, everything's still up in the air. There's the whole thing's in flux. I was probably addressing your concern of no parking. They were going to have a cutout in the sidewalk in front of the building.
Right.
But it still meant that somebody heading out of town on South Street, pulling into that spot, would still be opening their car door into South Street traffic.
Right, yeah.
So it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
The architect, after he designed it, went back and re-looked at what he had, and he found that he did not have enough space in front of the building to make the sidewalk cutout, because now
Okay.
you had to make a jog in of the sidewalk onto the library property, and it decreased the area they had for ramp, for the run of the ramp. So it didn't fit. So at the last meeting, as far as parking goes, Carlton Hunt and I suggested that they improve the building has about a space and a half or 2 spaces on the right-hand side of the building on Library Place.
Right.
That was parking for the last lift that was there.
Right.
However, there was no ramp going in that direction.
Right.
So we asked that that site be officially looked at by the architect. We went out, measured it and everything, and it can be a really good size space with you know, a van accessibility. Somebody could get out if they had to. So it's quite a large space. And then we suggested that they start the ramp there or a ramp there, and have the ramp come around in front of the building, so the accessible entrance would be the front of the building with everybody else.
Right.
That took care of a safe parking space.
Now,
So-
David, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when we were having the meetings way back when, they said that the memorial building didn't own the land on the right side of the building. They said that that road or driveway or whatever actually belonged to the building behind it. Is that wrong?
I believe that's still the case. What they've determined, that it belongs to the, it's a private way with held ownership by the 2 houses that are, one right behind the building and then one a little bit further in.
Right.
So it's not a town way, but the town does have the right to use it because they front on that way,
Okay.
so they can use it. Let's see, so that's the parking and the ramp issue. But again, we've made these suggestions and they're going back through Kim, and we're waiting now for a plan from the architect showing that.
Mhm.
The architect, we haven't seen anything new from the architect in the last 2 meetings. The last plan that the architect gave us showed one accessible bathroom on the first floor on top of the stairway that is currently there. And that would eliminate the stairway, and it still cuts the building in half.
Right.
It would require 2 variances, one from the access board, because they're only going to have 1 bathroom, one from the plumbing board, because it's going to be a unisex accessible bathroom, and 2, in order to get a stairway down into the basement, it would probably have to be a little narrower than what's required by code, and it would be underneath the stairway that goes up into the attic.
Oh, geez.
It's a bad
Wow.
plan.
God.
It's a mess. It's a bad plan. You don't want 3 variances.
Who is Kim
So-
discussing these plans with, though? When you discuss it with Kim as a representative for Bridgewater, who is she discussing all the plans with to make changes and so forth?
She's discussing it with the architect and whatever feedback we can give her. But I don't feel, I just don't feel comfortable with her and Dutton running the show, because they're not going to be here forever. They have they're paid employees, they do their job, but I don't feel as though they have it in their heart, really, they don't care what the future of this building is, and it's used by the townspeople. So I put together, I said, well, okay, Kim, I will put together my recommendations for you to bring to the architect concerning the additional staircase, or the narrow staircase downstairs. Carlton said he was going to put together his recommendations on the parking space out back. This isn't the end of the story by any means. It's just something for the architect to put on paper and come back to us to show us if it's at all feasible. So I said, Kim, I would like to go inside the building. She said, okay, I'll make arrangements for that. Well, it took me about a week to get the key from her, and I had to have the keeper of the key with me, Rob, the plumbing inspector.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So he went through the building with me, and along with Steve Solari. And I was absolutely infuriated, disgusted, everything because of what I found in the building. The new heating system that Carlton Hunt had acquired through a state grant 2 to 3 years ago. They call them mini splits. They handle both heat and air conditioning and humidity control. So they were installed. According to Carlton, the town pays a bill on them every month, but the system is not working. There's
Oh,
6
man.
units and they're all dead.
Oh, gee.
So over the summer, humidity in the building, the floors are buckling, paint is peeling,
Oh,
mold is growing, carpenter ants in the basement because of the moisture. I walked around the building, brush growing right up beside the building. There's no surface drainage away from the building. And I know for a fact, when I was building inspector 15 years ago, we did a lot of work around the building to improve the surface drainage around the building. And when we did that, the basement dried right up because it was a library for years. It was there were books down there. I mean, it was a dry building. Leslie Dorr had her office down there.
yeah,
The planning board when they were in
Right.
transition.
yeah.
So the gutters are plugged up. There's grass growing out of one of them in the back corner.
Oh, gee.
So they're not doing their job. So it's a mess over there. So I come out of that meeting and of course Rob is there with me and Steve, and I got Steve to one side and I said, Steve, I said, this is just wrong.
Yeah.
Rob is getting paid $1,000 a month to keep an eye on this building, and it's going to hell.
Yeah.
And I said, if I make a big stink out of this, I'm going to have to throw Rob under the bus. And he says, go ahead. He's not doing his job.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So the building's a mess. So I then turned around and wrote letters to a number of the councilors, including Ed Evaldi, because
Mhm.
I'll just touch on that a little bit. Explaining my anger and frustration in the whole thing, in the lack of maintenance and care of the memorial building, that's only going to add to the cost of,
Right.
of any kind of use. And I'm not even getting into who he puts in there. Personally, as a taxpayer, I think it's ridiculous. I don't agree with it, but just the maintenance, day-to-day maintenance of that building to keep it alive.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Rob's here with me, and he didn't seem to be upset about it at all. The thermostats all have batteries in them. They're all portable thermostats, and all the batteries are dead.
Oh,
Obviously, nobody's ever looked at it in 3
Nobody
years.
looks at it at all.
It's totally being ignored. And you go outside the building, you look at it, and the paint on the trim. I mean, the trim is over 100 years old, and it'd be very expensive to replace it. It's all fancy custom trim, and it's all peeling, and there's wood exposed, and it's a mess.
so
So I
how
worked
can they
all-
even think about something new when they can't even take care of what they currently own, you
Right.
know? It's,
Well, it's a similar situation at the town hall where they put
Yep.
almost $2 million. And the
Right.
academy building, they put $8 million into that, and they're not maintaining that. But anyway, it's just the memorial building itself. When I talked to Carlton about it, he was infuriated because the CPC gave them, I thought he said 80,000, but I could be wrong, to repair the ceilings and floors in it, 6, 8 years ago when they had some problems. But again, the problems were caused by neglect, just as the
Mhm.
repairs to this are going to be caused by neglect. And it's preservation. Yes, it's preservation, but it's because of neglect.
right.
So he sent a letter to all the councilors on it. I sent a letter to all the councilors. And at last 2 weeks ago at the council meeting, I don't know exactly what the issue was. I didn't catch that, but the council was told by Attorney Rollins that the council cannot tell the manager to do anything by charter. They're a legislative group, and they can ask him, but they can't tell him. They can't order him to do anything. He doesn't have to follow any command that they give him. So with that in mind, I got a hold of Ed Evaldi because that's something that's going to be changed. But so at last night's meeting, Fred Chase, my representative, did bring it up. All the issues that I brought, the failed heating system, the paint peeling inside, the mold, the carpenter ants, the moisture in the basement, and all of that. And Dutton was, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And, I've been trying to hire a guy for 2 years and just all this glossing over the whole damn thing. He says, if you want to go through it, I'll take the councilors on a tour of the building. He's not afraid of showing us incompetency. It's incredible. So if he can't take care of the building, how do you expect him to oversee a design change for the townspeople? Something that's going to be suitable for your commission and mine, and just it's a mess. I did get a hold of Ed Evaldi because I said, Ed, I sat down and talked with him, and I said, this is something that the Charter Advisory Committee the Charter Review Committee has got to address. There's got to be a way for the council to be able to tell the manager when he isn't doing his job. Now, I went back through the charter, and the charter specifically says the manager he's in charge of the maintenance and upkeep and rental of the buildings. It's his responsibility.
Yes.
He isn't doing it. So there's got to be a way that the charter, when he isn't doing it, he's got a 3-year contract. What can we do now? Nothing. We can write him a letter of reprimand. We can write him a letter of no confidence. Or we can fire him, but if we fire him, we got to buy out his 1.5 year of contract, over $200,000. It's crazy. So Ed is going to have his folks look it over and see if it's something that they want to tackle. So right now, where the whole thing stands is the Memorial Building Ad Hoc Committee is waiting to hear back from Kim as to when we're going to sit down and talk again. Now, my recommendation to her for changes to the building, I specifically, I went out and I got a hold of Bob Iafredi, former building inspector in town with me, but he was the contractor who did the accessibility changes to the Central Square Congregational Church. They installed a 3-floor exterior elevator on that building. And I said, okay, Bob, what did it cost? Because the architect has always said, oh, it'd be too expensive. We can't do this. We don't have the money and all this crap. Well, it cost the church $80,000 to do that elevator. 3 floors for $80,000. If you double the cost, because it was 6-8 years ago, you double the cost, we're only doing 2 floors. And this is a full-size elevator, not a box that people are going to have claustrophobia in, but an elevator similar to the one in the town hall. And if that was done, I propose that it be done right next to the accessible parking space. It doesn't have to be a separate entrance to the elevator there. You could have the accessible entrance through the front door like everybody else. And granted, there's not going to be any good parking close to that door, but people without a disability, they're going to have to cross South Street. And that's even scarier than a little bit of a walk up the ramp.
Dave, I had a couple of questions. How do you see us working together as two different groups to the end of getting this building to what you're looking for? And then number two, I had a couple of questions about the logistics of the elevator. But first, are you looking for us to kind of back you up as we go forward in this? How are you looking for us to work together?
Well, I'd like the your committee to give consideration to the use of an elevator in the building to, number one, it would eliminate the need to install bathrooms on the first floor. The Historical Commission feels as though that space is too valuable to use for bathrooms. It would eliminate the need for variances and so forth with the access board, with the plumbing inspector, with everybody. But I would ask your committee to consider the use of a full-size elevator in the building to go from the first floor to the second floor, or from the basement to the first floor, with 2 fully accessible bathrooms on the lower level, possibly a break room and everything else, whatever they need. But to utilize the building for the long term, for the future of Bridgewater. So I would ask you people to look at that and we'll discuss it further, I guess, at the ad hoc committee when and if they meet again.
I'd like to get Lorraine and Henry's views on that. I just had a couple more questions. When the little metal boxy elevator was out there, a lift or whatever that was, it was very small, and there were, I believe there was just one parking space next to it. If you made a larger elevator, would that not take the one parking space and eliminate it?
No, it'll take part of that. It'll take part of that area out there, but there still will be an accessible parking space with a loading area next to the vehicle. So there's plenty of room back there because I propose that the elevator would be outside of the building.
Right.
So it doesn't take up any space on the inside, but it also gives you as much room as you want. And it's cheaper to build an elevator outside than it is to try to build one inside, where you have to cut floors and wiring and plumbing and everything else. You'll have to cut 2 holes in the wall, one on the first floor and one in the basement, no doubt about it. But I believe it's something that the architect could draw up if he was given the go-ahead by the powers to be for us to further consider it.
And I guess my last thing is, I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I don't think I've ever seen a public building with an outside elevator that's my way to get up and down and so forth. So would I be able to I would get into the elevator from the inside of the building, and the elevator is just on the outside, or would it be from the outside?
It would be fully accessible from inside the building.
It would all be, so on the basement would be accessible, the first floor would be accessible. Okay. How would that affect the walk around the building? You have the elevator jutting out. So would the walk would start to the left of the elevator for the handicap to walk around the building?
Yes, it would still be room, 5 feet of space along that side of the building to travel from the parking space into the front of the building.
How do you guys feel about all these?
Well, I'm thinking about how long, we can't even get a handicap closer put on the back door to town hall. It's gonna cost $20,000.
Right.
How many years have we been talking about that? They won't even do that for us.
That
Right,
was
I agree. That's a big issue.
When that was approved, how long ago was that now, Henry? About a year ago?
More than a year.
And
Yeah.
it's been more than a year, and it still hasn't gone anywhere.
You can't blame it on the COVID. There's all kinds of construction going on everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
I think David's got some great points, definitely in the way you explained and described everything. I know myself personally, like I had mentioned one time when I blew out my knee and I was on crutches for a long time, and there was no way I was going to be using that elevator that was in the, the old town hall or whatever. That was pretty scary. And even the one that I see now, it seemed pretty scary, but I'm trying to envision how that elevator would look on the side of the building. And like you said, there's enough parking for one car to go in, get in. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If you drive into there and you have the elevator and you have the one spot, is there going to be a space enough to back out and turn around to come out of there?
You'd have to back, as you drive into that space and coming out, you would
You have to
back out with the back of a car heading towards further down Library Place. And, but it's the best alternative as far as
Right.
parking goes. There's no other choice, but keep in mind that it's a dead end street with two houses on it. So,
Right.
you cut a little brush around there and it should be no problem at all.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings. All I can say, back to Henry's point about the Academy building, we were very upset about the fact that it is so difficult to get into that building. If you're a disabled person, if you park on the left side of the building in the largest parking lot, you have to maneuver all the way around the building to get to the front door that's handicap accessible. They were going to take care of it. They never did. And I just find that everything that has been discussed with us that they're going to take care of never seems to happen. So I don't know. Are they listening to what you're saying over here? I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
well,
right. To us.
Dutton's the man who orders the work to be done,
Okay.
and he isn't doing it. So it's up to us to keep pushing on your counselors to do something. Both the two counselors at large, plus your individual counsel. Mine is Fred Chase, and then you've got Matt Rushton and Dennis Gallagher are the counselors at large. So it's the only way to get it done right now. You've got to keep pushing them. And if you had time to waste last night and watch the Foolish Council meeting, you can see that there is some momentum. There are some people who aren't happy. Some of the councils aren't happy with Dutton, and it's just we'll do it tomorrow. They share their frustration with ours. So
I mean, this project's been going on for a while regarding the memorial building, right? It's been a
no, 2
while
years
now.
at least. Just as long as
It's
your
amazing.
request for the opener on the door, and
No?
it's been over a year since we had the meeting with the mailbox. Now
Right.
that's something that they could have Rob, the handyman, do it. I mean, that's no big deal, and they made no attempt to do it at all.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
up to us to express our frustration with Ed Evaldi, that the counselor, he's the head of the Charter Review Committee. I think if that committee hears enough from people that the council has got to be able to force Dutton to do something, to move on an issue. I mean, Lorraine, you worked with him for a long time. You know how
Oh.
slow he is getting anything done.
No comment.
Yeah.
Hey, David,
So-
why you and the Historic Commission had wanted to have the memorial building used as a kind of like an annex, it sounded like, to put some of the artwork and stuff from the library. Why is the town so dead set in using it for the water department when they already have that building? It's like a trailery, but it seems fine to me.
Well, now you're getting into my personal opinion on this. The Historical Commission, we listened to the architect's presentation. We listened to Dutton and Kim about the giving us a little tiny display case in the center of the building and
Yeah.
the memorial building, and hang
Right.
some pictures on the wall. And then Dutton said, well, why don't we meet with the library trustees? Well, we did. The Historical Commission met with the trustees. We talked to them. We had a long meeting with Jed afterwards. And he would like to see a more active historical display area in the basement lobby of the library, the lobby area outside of the meeting room downstairs. And
Yeah.
we've come to an agreement. That would be great. We're trying
Yeah.
to find some lockable display cases that we can put down there. So we've pretty much forgotten about any kind of historical display in the memorial building. We're not fighting for that. Right now, we're just fighting for the life, the survivability of that building, just to make it, to maintain it, to keep it solid, and to make it accessible. Those are the three things we're looking for right now, because it's hurting big time. And we've got to work within the system that we have. The council can't force Dutton to do it,
Yeah.
so we have to go with the system and through our counselors and get our counselors. And when they're frustrated enough at hearing us complain and knowing that they can't do anything with Dutton, hopefully that they'll consider some changes to the charter so that they can force Dutton. Because I'm sure there are other areas that they're equally as frustrated in, whether it be budget or whatever, that they can't get Dutton to do what they want him to do when they want him to do it. So it's not only our thing is small potatoes. I really think with a $40 million budget.
Right.
Like you mentioned, David, there is a deterioration of that building every day that they just let it sit, and all of those things that you came across when you did your walk or whatever. That's what disturbs me. They're talking about, doing something new and whatever. That's always been the problem, even with the senior center. Maintain what you have, and it just
Right.
never seems to happen,
Yeah.
It's really
Hey,
sad.
David, weren't they supposed to make a decision by now because we were going to lose some grant money or something for that building? What happened with that?
Yep. Yep. They don't even talk about that anymore.
So we lost the money for the building?
Well, I don't know if we lost it, but what was going to happen was this was money that was allocated with the reconstruction of the academy building, but it was also, I guess, in the article that they could use some of it for the town hall and some of it for the memorial building. And if they didn't do it, then they were going to have to basically put it back in the kitty and give it back to the taxpayers by reducing the tax rate or whatever. But it was going to have to go back to the people that gave it to them. But they haven't mentioned that in the last couple of meetings because that ship sailed the end of July. I think that was a deadline that they were saying they had to do it by. So
Gee.
our only hope is to try to force change
Mhm.
in the council and how they deal with it. And I think your commission with the issues that you have that you've been waiting so long for,
Mhm.
they're a lot more just as critical of as the condition of that memorial building. You have day to day people cannot access that academy building,
Right.
and it's ridiculous. There's no reason for it at all,
Right.
other than Dutton is just stalling, just delaying because he just doesn't see it as important or whatever reason. But there's no excuse for that work not being done.
Right.
Well, I'm sure don't want to speak for Henry and Lorraine, but I'm sure we all would like to work with you in the Historic Commission going forward. Definitely.
Absolutely. I agree, David.
Yeah.
So,
You got to contact your counselors, put pressure on them, send emails, tell them you want to meet with them, invite them to one of our meetings or one of your meetings, and just to express your frustration.
that's a good idea.
Dennis Gallagher last night, he said, well, why is the town of Bridgewater one of the few town buildings in the area that isn't open? You can go to East Bridgewater, West Bridgewater, Halifax, you can go to Wareham, any of these. And Bridgewater has spent thousands of dollars. I've been in the academy building and I've seen what they've done in there. They've spent thousands of dollars on plexiglass everywhere. I mean, there's in front of every one of those open windows and in between desks and everything, there's petitions. There's no reason why people can't be in there working. Yeah. Do you want the council chambers filled up? No. But he did say that in about 2 weeks, they're going to allow the council members to hold their meeting in the council chamber if they want. And it will also be by Zoom also. So they're going to do, he had to purchase some new technology to do that, but whatever.
Right.
But pressure on our counselors and expressing your frustration to Ed Evaldi and his committee. They did a citizen survey recently, and I think the deadline for the survey was maybe yesterday, but I'm sure if you looked it up online, it's on the town website, and it's on, I think it was on Buzz Around also.
Right.
was a
I
no.
just completed it. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you could, take advantage of that, because
Mhm.
one thing in talking with Ed, what they're hoping to do this time is, the last time Carlton Hunt ran that committee, and they came up with some really good recommendations and proposed changes. But the council took them, lumped them all together into one article and changed it. And it took 18 months for them to do that. And then they finally submitted it to Boston for approval, then submitted it to the council for approval. And it was approved. And by then, things just kind of got watered down. But Ed wants all of his recommendations from this committee. He wants to have a menu type vote.
Mhm.
Every single item is separate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, thank you very much for your time, David. I really appreciate all the information you gave us in regard to the building and the memorial building and so forth. And, we would definitely like to work with you.
Jace, keep in
Yeah.
mind,
Thank you, David.
squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yep.
I guess so.
Squeak like hell.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you, David.
Again.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Bye-bye
Take
now.
care.
Good luck. Yep, bye-bye.
Bye. So, let's see. It's funny. I just wanted to, before we even get started, ask you what you guys have been doing to keep busy during all this time. Lorraine, I know you told me you had a lot going on in your house.
Yeah. What'd you say, me or Henry?
No, Lorraine, I know you have a lot going on in your house.
Yes. Yep. We been involved in painting, the whole exterior.
Yeah,
Mike's
yeah.
had somebody come in to do, take care of some of the main areas or whatever. But, stubborn Mike, he's going to do
He's gonna do it.
a lot of what he can. So I'm chipping in on chipping to help some of the areas. He puts me out back where nobody can see those shingles. I'm doing the railing out front, just things that,
Wow.
no. That's been fun. We were going to go to Universal. We had planned that a while ago, but obviously the end of October, there's no way that we're taking
No
a
way.
chance to go to Florida. So
Have
we're a
you
little
been,
disappointed.
have you been able to see your kids at all?
Yes, yep. My daughter lives in Bridgewater up the street, so we've been
Okay.
able to see them. And, no big hugging or kissing, but we keep our distance, but we're kind of within the same household in a sense. She lives down the street.
Right.
My son is in Bellingham and, they both have compromised immune systems with Crohn's and everything. So
Oh,
very
geez.
careful. And it's just outside we do with them and that's it. So, yeah.
How about you, Henry?
We went to Connecticut last weekend to visit my grandkids, but my son lives in Maine, so we don't go up there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my stepdaughter lives in Norwood. We haven't seen her for a while, but we talk all the time.
Oh, good. That's
It's
great.
funny. We've been kind of creeping back to normalcy. Like when COVID first started, we were sitting outside the back screened-in porch of my in-laws in the cold. We had a couple of folding chairs, and we'd be sitting out there. They had like plastic windows up, and they'd be sitting on the other side, so we weren't getting near. Then eventually the plastic came down, and we're talking to them through the screens. And then we sat inside with the screen room, and now we're actually into the house. So it's almost, but we wear a mask until we have our martini. As soon as the martini comes out, we'll take. I think the gin kills any germs that are out there.
Oh, definitely. I love that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's weird, but we're working through it.
Bob is in the other room, so I can't say much about my mother-in-law.
How's she doing, by the way, Henry? Is she hanging in there?
How's she doing, Barbara? She said it's just ducky.
So it's kind of we're reconnecting, and I think we need obviously new direction and new ideas. And Lorraine, you had a couple ideas that you shared with me. Did you want to talk about a couple of them?
Well, the first thought that I had, obviously, number one, you had mentioned that Bob had resigned, and, I want to thank him for his time and his service that he provided on the Disabilities Commission. With me having been involved years ago, I know it's a commitment and a very important position to hold. So thank you, Bob, for your time and volunteering for the committee. So obviously, I guess number one would be for us to maybe, think about anyone that we think would be a good fit, maybe, to the committee, because you would want another member. So what I thought my ideas were, first of all, to make sure that there's enough information on Get the Vote Out. I did do that Rev Up conference, which, David, did you do half of it also, half a day or
I
something?
ended up not being able to do it, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, you have all the information.
I actually did it till about, I think it was quarter of 12, and then they had a break and they were doing Q&A or something like that. I did miss the afternoon where it said, what the steps would be, but they just, pretty much the takeaway was just making sure that the people with disabilities had the opportunity to vote in whatever way that, they wanted to, either in person, and they were able to do that, or the great thing is the mail-in voting now. I think that's going
Right.
to help a
So how
lot
do you
of
think
people.
we could get involved, Lorraine, what could we do as a commission to help
Well,
get the vote out?
the problem is there's really, as far as the newsletter, that's only seasonal. So I guess what Emily Williams does, the director, is she sends out like blasts to her contact list. So I'm just thinking if there's even any kind of handouts, and I can go through some of my information that I have and maybe something you might have. And
Okay.
maybe we could even just ask Emily to put out there a poster. I'm sure, I know Merrill Lee does a wonderful job, disseminating information and getting everything out. So maybe between all of that, we can take a look and see what kind of handouts we can, just make sure that people have an opportunity to read or whatever, on that. So I thought about that's important considering where we're at. The second thing I was thinking about is, I believe it's on a Friday, October 2nd, is the state's disability summit that they talked about in one of the last conferences that I think you were on it also too, David, in July.
Right.
Henry, were you able to be a part of that in July? I think it was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that was a very good conference. I really enjoyed it. And they did allude to the fact that there is going to be a state, it's called the Disability Summit. And it's on October 2nd on a Friday. And I believe we would be receiving an invitation. And that's going to be, very informational. So I think in lieu of, maybe even in lieu of a meeting for October, you could just see if people could participate, in the summit.
In that instead. That's a good possibility.
Yeah. And then the third thought that I had was, I am still the chairman of Triad, with the Seniors and Law Enforcement Together program, and Kathy Hayes is the vice chair. So I had mentioned to Kathy, because we're in the same situation, obviously with no real face-to-face, everything Zoom, trying to jump back into Triad. Right now, Kathy and I worked on the surveys that, the crime prevention surveys that we had discussed last year with membership. So we're currently involved in trying to update those. But from what I gather, I guess there's been, there was a health and wellness survey that went out, which I, actually responded to. And then I believe Kathy said, Colony is asking Emily to disseminate a survey through Colony.
She is. I think they had like about 30 surveys that had come back, and they were trying to get some more.
So Kathy and I felt that we didn't want to inundate people with survey after survey.
Right.
So we are updating the crime prevention survey that hasn't been updated in ages.
Okay.
It probably won't be something that we'll, send out or whatever until maybe even the beginning of the year, or the end of the year. We just don't want people to be inundated by surveys, and the response would be pretty low because they would be a little fed up with trying to respond.
That makes sense.
So what I thought is, you know, I know you're on my membership list, David. Anna
Right.
Nacuzzi's on my membership list for Triad. And we have many other members. I thought if we could just even tag team the Disabilities Commission along with Triad and kind of work on some of the endeavors that we're trying to do ourselves. It's just like the Historical Commission, you know, it's a win-win with the Disabilities Commission being on board too.
Right.
You know, you're working with the same population and the same type of ideas and the same issues. And, you know, if there's more people, more groups that are together and can collaborate, I just think it makes it so much easier, especially in the current, you know, the current environment we're in right now. We're spinning our wheels. We're trying to,
Well, that's kind of how I feel
Programs.
too. And I think us working with another group, whether it be Triad or
Mhm.
something, is a great idea. So I appreciate that. The other one I was thinking of, Lorraine, because I know you're involved in it also, is the Bridgewater Housing Authority. And the reason I thought of that, Emily had me and Anna Nacuzzi.
Mhm.
We were part of this group that folded the newsletters. They mailed them, so we put them into envelopes, this whole thing. But then Anna and I went to the Bridgewater Housing, and we went to both sides of the street, and we
Oh,
went
yeah.
to apartment to apartment, knocked on the door, and basically just checked, how you doing, you know? And there were
Yes.
people that didn't want to answer the door. They were told, or they were afraid to answer the door, so they just said, I can't answer the door. Some
Right.
people weren't home, but then there were a lot of people that I thought, a lot of them seem to be, whether it be financially, emotionally, or whatever, in worse shape than other places I've been. Because
Right.
there's, and you know, I felt that they were having either health issues
Mhm.
or isolation issues or whatever. I mean, there were some people that were kind of rough shape.
I
And
know.
when
Right.
I deliver Meals on Wheels, kind of Meals on Wheels on Thursdays, and the
Yes.
places I go, they're all like nice houses, and everyone seems to have everything, you know. But a lot
Yes.
of people didn't, so I didn't know if it would work for us to work with
Mhm.
Bridgewater Housing, if that
Right.
would also, because I know you're on it, and
Yes.
you know, Nick Baggish is on it, so
Yes.
that would work out. But I mean, either way, we could see what I want to do, Lorraine and Henry, is, you know, come up with a couple of points that we could actually accomplish. And
I
it's
know.
like you said, Lorraine, you know, but working on a Zoom thing is not the same, and you can't
Mhm.
meet people in person, and it's not the same. But I want to get a couple of things accomplished. So
I know.
what do
I
you,
totally agree.
what do you
Yeah.
think is better and easier? Try working in conjunction with Triad, or working in conjunction with Bridgewater Housing Authority? What do you guys think?
I,
I think whatever we can do to help everybody, that'd be great, but I
Right.
agree. I'd like to get something accomplished.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I totally agree too. I think with the housing authority, obviously, you know, nobody's gathering and there's strict protocols and all that.
Right.
So as far as, you know, you going in to deliver a meal or whatever, I think that's wonderful. But with any other direction, I'm not sure what we could do right now at this point in
Right.
time, other than if someone, I mean, even a friendly visit would be very difficult because, you know, it's face to face and all that.
Well, Emily is having, I guess, me and Anna, when they do their new, I guess it's seasonal or quarterly newsletter, she
Mhm.
was going to ask us to deliver them again. And so we had like, there's no one working in the office there. I don't know if they are now, but we had to get someone from maintenance to let me into the main building on the right side of the road. And we just went up and down the floors. On the other side, we just walked up and down and went door to door and
Mhm.
knocked on everyone's doors to deliver the newsletter.
Mhm. Sure, yeah.
But
Yep, there is, Karen Rudd is actively working, but she goes into the office a couple times a week.
okay,
And obviously working remotely too, you know,
right,
because that's the direction that the
right.
housing authorities are taking, you know. So, and the maintenance staff is wonderful. They are
They
there
are.
to assist. You
They
know,
really are.
they are amazing. But I do agree with both of you. We do want to try to accomplish something concrete, you know?
Right.
Exactly. So
You
I
know,
think
I
if we
want-
put on our thinking caps and maybe we can come up with a couple of, you know, a couple of projects where we can feel good that we've accomplished something. You know?
Well, kind of back to what Dave Moore said. He said the squeaky wheel, gets greased. Well,
Mhm.
I haven't followed up with the academy building in a while because, that you can't get in, you can't talk to anyone.
Right, look at you.
I can follow up with Dutton and say, it's been a long, long time, and it doesn't matter that the doors are locked. That door is locked. It doesn't matter that it's locked or whatever. I mean, eventually it's going to open up again, and what's going. So I'll make sure I follow up with the
Good
academy,
time to do it because it's not getting used.
but it will get used.
But right now is a good time to
Oh
work it.
yeah, no, yeah, you're right. It's a great time.
Right.
So
The
are you
other thing
thinking, David, of do you mean sending a letter regarding the whole handicap project that is kind of still in limbo? Is that what you're talking about, to find
Well,
an
they had-
update on that?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I assured us that it was going to happen. They had in fact, that Rob had said that they had a contractor. Everything was all lined up.
Oh,
And
okay.
it just kind of fizzled out like everything else. It's kind of like Henry and I separately went to Marathon Park.
Yeah, that's open now, David. There's no
What's
reason why
It's open.
the park is
Like-
open.
A year and plus later, they have the handicap parking spots are on the far left near I guess it was a ball field, but there isn't one handicap parking spot in front of Marathon Park. And they were going to,
Oh,
and all they have to do is dig them up, move them, and, cement them in. They haven't done it. In fact, where they are, they're all overgrown with weeds and stuff. It's just a
Yeah.
hideous area, and they haven't done jack crap on it. They just let it be.
so David, is that something that we just endorse, and you being the chair, would you be willing to maybe just do a follow-up like letter or something
Oh,
regarding
I will.
those two different projects? Like you said, the handicap Marathon Park and then the handicap with the Academy building?
I
maybe?
will. I will include, if you guys are okay, your names, and I'll talk to Anna and
Yeah.
include her name. They're on agreement of it. I have one more question. Lorraine, what do you think we could do, like back to your idea of get the vote out? Because that's going to happen very quickly. I mean, we're
Right.
talking like, what, 50 days away?
Mhm.
Is there anything you could look into that we can find out quickly that we could help out?
Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually take a look at even some of the information that I have and try to maybe collaborate with Mara Lee and see what she might have. I mean, like I said, even if it's just information that we can just get out there and assure, I mean,
Right.
how do you put things on that buzz around? Do you know how to put things out
I
there?
don't. I haven't put anything on it, so I do not know.
I mean, maybe it's even something, Jeff Fowler, cable, I can contact him and we can make sure there's something put out on cable as far as
Yeah.
if you're looking for this information. Actually, I received I'm on an email list with Mara Lee, and she had sent out this, she's had people ask a couple of questions she wanted to share. She's hoping you will share with your neighbors, friends, and family. Can I read this real quick, David? I just
Sure.
found this. She said if you completed cards or an application to receive a vote by mail or absentee ballot, but have changed your mind and want to vote in person, here are your options. 1, immediately send a signed note to the clerk's office, 66 Central Square, or their email address, saying you do not want the mail ballot. If we receive the note before ballots are mailed out, you will not receive a ballot. Number 2, complete the mail-in ballot you receive, seal it in the envelope as instructed, and bring it with you to early voting. After checking in, deposit directly in the ballot box or bring it to the Academy building and place it in the drop box by the handicap ramp at the side door, Bedford Street parking lot, or send it by mail with sufficient time to be received before November 3rd. Or number 3, bring the blank mail ballot with you to the George Mitchell School on November 3rd. Do not vote or seal it. Bring the packet back and exchange it for an in-person day of election ballot. So what I can do is I can actually forward this email to you, David. so
Oh,
you can-
actually, I want to stop you on that because
Okay.
this is funny. me and there was some woman, I think her last name was Gahuli, but I had sent this question to Marilee.
Oh, you did?
Yes. She had responded to me, and then she sent me, her answer, and then she said, I want you to know, and she said it was you and one other person. I can't find the other one's name. Someone Gahuli, and she said you both were wondering how to change it and vote at the town hall again.
Oh my God.
So it originally came from me and one other person.
That is so funny.
From Trump, David?
What's that?
Did you get a call from Trump?
I haven't yet, but I'm still waiting.
Okay.
David, I can't believe that was your question.
That
How
was my
funny.
question. Well, it's funny because then I sent her a follow-up today because my in-laws also, and I don't know how much I want to help my in-laws because they're going to vote the opposite way of me, but we vote in Brockton and they want to vote at their precinct. They don't want to send it in anymore. And I called the town hall in Brockton, and they don't have to do any of this stuff. All they have to do when they get their vote, their ballot in the mail, they said just tear it up and come in and vote like normal. Now, to me, that doesn't make sense because then you can possibly have that mail-in ballot and you can still go into your precinct. So, I'm not sure, but I asked Marilee, does that make sense? Is every town different? But yeah, she had a response. Boy, I'll tell you, Marilee is amazing because she follows up amazingly quick.
She's incredible. She is
really
incredible. Yeah. I have been trying to get sworn in for a while. Well, obviously COVID happened and then, we weren't having meetings. So when I knew we were having this meeting, and then we had tree work done, I couldn't get out of the yard, blah, blah, blah. So finally Monday, I said, hey, there's no crane in my yard. Is it safe? Do you mind? Can you swear me in? She came right out to the parking lot. I mean, she's amazing.
She really is.
Yeah.
I just want your opinion back to Dave Moore and the Memorial Building. Do you guys think it's a good idea to have the outside elevator and all that? I'm not sure I like it, but what do you think?
How many handicapped people are actually going to use that building?
Well, if they put what they want to do, what they wanted to do originally was have like a annex of the library, so have like artwork and stuff. What the town wants to do is move the water department there.
Right.
I will tell you this: in the last couple of years, I've been for a couple of reasons to the water department to talk to them. So I'm sure other people must go there, and talk to them. So I don't. There is no place to park there if you're a guest to the water department. I mean, I'm not sure I understand how they can make the space on the right side. That little elevator lift that they had before was tiny.
I know.
If you make a full-size elevator, there was only one spot over there. So I'm not an architect or an engineer, but I would think that elevator would encompass part of the parking spot. And also, I don't know how you'd get out of there, like if you park there, because you'd have to back into traffic, is I guess my point to David. And would you want to back into traffic right over there? I don't see that that's usable.
Well, the way he made it sound, he said there's Library Place right next door, the side street for the library.
Yeah.
He basically mentioned that the way that it would be angled is that you would actually be pulling into Library Place and going back around out. You know what I mean? So you'd be on library property afterwards. You'd be on that side next to the Memorial Building, but there'd be space enough when I guess they're going to open it up. And when you leave, you'd be going right into like you're driving into the library. That's what it sounded like.
But I don't know where you would park over there and be able to walk if you're handicapped. I'm just not sure.
Yeah.
I think looking more for the historic aspect of it, and I think we're looking more for the disability aspect.
Right, exactly. Like I told him, I'm trying to envision it, and I have a hard time trying to envision an outside elevator like that.
Is there any way you could show some drawings or something, what it's going to look like?
Well, were you at the meetings when Dudden was with us originally? He actually came to our meetings and was showing the drawings of it. And I mean, they made it look like the handicap ramp looked excellent at the front of the building, but they
Mm.
never came to a solution of where to park. To
Yeah,
me, this is even worse because if I was a person either with a walker or a wheelchair or whatever, I don't want to go into an elevator to go to the bathroom downstairs. I think there should be
I
accessible
know.
restrooms where people can get to them. And,
Right.
and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
So to sum up, I'm gonna start being a little more squeaky about the things we're wanting in regard to the Academy building entrance and then the signage at Marathon Park.
Mhm.
Lorraine, you're gonna follow up with us and get out the vote if there's anything we can
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
We'll find out a little bit more about the October Disability Summit and see if we can, get an invite for that because it will be very informational.
Right.
I'll follow up with Anna. I'm not sure what happened because she had called me this week, and I said, I will send you the Zoom link, and I also sent a easy how-to to everyone
Mhm.
how to
Right.
get on Zoom, and I thought she had it, so I'm not sure about that, but I'll follow up with Anna. Yeah, we definitely need a full staff, and I was thinking also. That there's about 14 to 15 people on Literacy Place and very nice people, and maybe just sending out to them, would any of them be interested in being a member of Disability
Oh,
Commission?
yeah, that's great. Yes. Yeah.
Um,
That's a great idea, David.
that's
Yeah.
a 1 out of 14 chance maybe, and
Right.
maybe I could talk to Emily and see because she, she added 2 people to the Elder Affairs Commission. We lost 2 people and we just got 2 people. She got it rather quickly, but she's got a lot of people to work with also.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
great.
so maybe we can get someone through her also.
How is the EAC? How's that going? Good? All the meetings and everything?
It's going good. I mean, we still,
Excellent.
just like everyone else, we had trouble. The last meeting, somebody couldn't get the voice to work. The time before, one couldn't get a voice, one couldn't get their picture on, one couldn't get on. We're always struggling with, accessibility, I guess, to the Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough with technology. Now, what about the cabinets? I was able to go in there one day and I saw the white cabinets then. So did they complete them then or?
They're moving right along. The last time I was there was Thursday last week. And the cabinets were in, the counters were in, they had cardboard taped over the counters. The top cabinet wasn't in yet on one side, so they had a little bit more work, but it was moving along anyways.
Oh, excellent.
Somebody was there that day working on it, so that was
Oh,
a good.
good.
Yeah,
Great. Excellent.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing I don't want to do is our group, like I noticed a lot of these commissions, they throw stones at other commissions or at the town management. And I don't know that our place to throw stones. I just want to get something done, but I don't want to be negative necessarily about it
No.
either.
Yeah, I totally agree. We're here just to benefit the public. You know what I mean? We're not here to, everybody's in a position where everybody's trying to do the best that they can,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
that's my thought. And David, you've taken on a lot.
No, not really. So I'll tell you, it was really a joy to see. Well, definitely see you, Lorraine. Henry,
Thank you.
Metcha, but
David, I'm gonna give you a call and talk to you about the election, okay?
I'm getting afraid. Actually, I'm getting afraid because Biden is actually being very, and I'm not a Biden fan, Henry, but Biden is being very smart because basically he's doing nothing. And
Well, I understand you not being a Biden fan. I just don't understand you being a Trump fan.
well, you can. I'll tell you how I think Biden's so smart because he's just letting Trump basically self-destruct. Trump is putting his foot in his mouth. He's doing this and that, and Biden just sits around, twiddling his thumbs, and the score keeps going up.
I can't wait
He's
for
doing
the debate.
great.
This debate's gonna be the greatest thing in the world.
Is that September 29th? Is that what it is? The 29th?
Is it
I'm not
next?
sure today.
I thought it was next Tuesday, but maybe I'm wrong.
When is it, next Tuesday?
I thought it was next Tuesday, but I could be wrong. I thought it was next week
Oh.
anyways.
It'd be
It's
better than
definitely
any
gonna-
reality show you can see.
Hey, Henry, just have your popcorn ready, you know?
Oh, I know.
I know. Oh my
Well,
God.
there's two things that gotta happen. Number one, you probably have for Trump to win, you gotta stick an apple in his mouth so he doesn't say anything. Biden, big giant cue cards from, I don't know. They're both about getting close to 80. So
Yeah, I know.
they're struggling.
I know. But yeah, it's so, I really enjoyed this meeting. It's great to see you guys again. And I feel like I'm starting to get things rolling along here. I mean, I have been pretty active as it is with everything and continuing or whatever. But this committee meant a lot to me. And, I'm glad that we're jumping back in. But just doing what we can do. We're not trying to, grab something major that we know is impossible right now.
Right now it would be tough. You're right.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we'll plan to possibly get together in October. If not, we'll do that meeting, but we'll do one or the other.
Okay.
And I'll put some meeting notes together from this. You weren't taking notes today, right, Henry?
I asked you, but I didn't think it was necessary today, but I didn't know.
I'll just put it together to send out just so we can kind of keep it going. And
Okay.
I look forward to talking with you guys soon.
Okay.
good. Thanks.
Stay safe.
Yep, thanks a lot, everybody. Take care. Thanks, David, for getting this together, too.
My pleasure.
Take
All right.
care. We'll see ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.